Hello and welcome to the Dee Code. Today we are talking about the derivation of meaning within Enochian. If you don't know what Enochian is, or the Dee Code, or John Dee, please go back to the beginning of this lecture series. We'll cover all of these things as we go. So today we're talking about Enochian temple furniture. As you know, there are around a dozen different items that are highly complex and rich sources of meaning that are used as focuses of the mind or as ritual talisman or something like that within the Enochian system. These were recorded and communicated through the spirit actions, the scrying work of Edward Kelly and John Dee. The communications were often involving of complex tables of letters, so a series of letters that didn't make any sense that were then later transcribed or corrected in subsequent sessions. Then they also offered further translations or communications. So in this example, right, we have say Sloan 1, the manuscript Sloan 3188, which is often expressed through the 5 books of mystery. There's a lot of information coming through. They correct it, like the Liber Logeath that has the angelic language and tables and things like that. Received all these letters, they moved it around in different tables, then they moved it around again in different tables, and then finally we have angel names and things like that. So it's really important to know how that flows. I wanted to talk about the Sigilium Dei Ameth, which is a central tool of the Enochian practice. And so if you go to Lamen, Duquette's book on Enochian vision magic, he goes through all the derivations of angel names. The angel names include things like Galoth, Gaethog, Theoth, Horwin, Eon, etc. These are encoded in the outside ring, and you'll see letters that have numbers. You can start with a capital letter, like in the top right, there's a capital G with a 9 above it. The 9 means you go 9 spaces to the right, and then you have the next letter. Then you follow whatever the number says. If it's below the letter, you go counterclockwise and vice versa. Then you get all of those names, actually. This is interesting because even the visions that John Dee and Edward Kelly had just talk about, it's so weird. It's like maidens in robes that are carrying devices that turn into letters and numbers that they're writing down, and it's sort of all this drama. But ultimately, they record these things and teach you how to derive the names. Right. So then we have that heptagon on the outside that has the letters. If you look at the top, there's a cross and a Z. Then there on the next one, there's an A and a capital Z and a C. There are angel names encoded there: Zaphakael, Zedekiel, Kumael, Haniel, Mikael, Raphael, and that sort of thing. And so those are formed when you compose. Take each of those sides of the heptagon, line them up. You get a table of letters, and then you get to see the angel names spelled out in specific ways. Same thing with the other strange letters underneath the heptagon. Those produce another table, which then produce the angel names within the interior 7-pointed star type experience, and then in turn further down. So it's really complex, it's really rich. I would invite you to explore that. This is an example of the Sevenfold Table that's taken from the Sigilium Dei Ameth. We have the SAAI with a 21 and an 8 next to it, E with an 8. You go back, you can see those here. Let's start with the bottom left. You got E, I, looking diagonally, I, H, I, L, R, D, M, A, L, H, E, E, O, G, and so that I'm on the 4th diagonal from the bottom left. if we go back to here, we can see at in the 7-pointed star, you can actually see the eye, e, ear, dema, heola, begia, steam coal, and these are angel names, and so they're derived from this table. So this is teaching you how to find other words in other places. This is teaching you how to think like a cryptographer, like Dee was thinking, like the angels were thinking. All right, so the next thing we need to talk about is the 49 good angels. This is central to the De Heptarchia Mystica. This is called the 7x7 table. So the De Heptarchia Mystica, the book that is central to the Dee Code, involves 49 good angels, and we'll talk about them a little bit more. But they all have these names, and then there's so how do we derive these names? I was curious about that myself, and so we have this table in a circle. It's 7 tables, and it has an incomplete spot up top. And I've been talking about completing incomplete things, right? So as a way to prove there's a code that's discernible, right? So we have something incomplete here. I'm making the prediction that once this Dee Code is decoded, we'll be able to complete this 7x7 table in a way that is meaningful and relevant and conclusive. So Dee and Kelly received this 7x7 table through elaborate scrying means. They then turn into this table, the table of the 49 good angels. Here you can start seeing the Heptarchia, right? So there are 7 sections associated with the 7 planets, associated with numbers, associated with all these different things. And boy, oh boy, does it look like a cipher disk to me. Just saying. Again, should the historic precedent for this communication be angelic communication like the prophets with the angels, or perhaps is the historic precedent for this the Alberti cipher disk? And I would love to let you contemplate that. I don't see them as mutually exclusive, but I think I'm unique in that perspective. So here's a really amazing thing, right? So there's all this gibberish, these sort of gibberish names. They're the ministers of the king and prince of the Heptarchy, each of the Heptarchy. So there's just a lot of weird letters here, and it doesn't seem like it makes any sense. But when you start to work with the tables associated with that 7x7 table, brought into the different tables of the De Heptarchia Mystica, and then you start putting out and marking out where the ministers' names come from. There's an elaborate table of order that comes and is shown here. Personally, I do not understand this, but I wanted to share this because this one link, which is like a live journal copy of a Usenet communication or whatever, this is provided a really beautiful visual clue that even the strangeness of the ministers' names has a deeper sense of order, which, I mean, you can kind of discern it even looking here. It's diagonal, right? Like offset diagonal, which is very similar to the offset, the offset columns of the angel names in the Sigilium Dei Ameth tables. Here is another bit around the angel names, right? So here's angelic minister names and how they're sort of where this table relates to Dee's work, right? So here we have this 7x6 table of letters that is then composed around in a circle, right? And that there's meaning inherent in all of these in this way. So it's important to know. the names of the 49 good angels, they are essential to the derivation of the letters on the perimeter of the Holy Table. This is essential to know. It's like, what are these letters? Why are they coming from? What's the order here? Well, they actually spell out the names of the 49 good angels. That if you take the names of the king and the prince of each of the Heptarchy, and you take away the letter B and you arrange them in this grid, which the angels told Dee and Kelly to do, it forms what's called the 12 by 7 grid. And they have weird names for different parts of this grid, like the skin, the heart, I guess the bones or something like that. But then this 12 by 7 grid is rotated. So imagine this grid is rotated counterclockwise, and now you're seeing the OSONSSL, which is on the right side of the grid at the top. That sort of helps you read through how the letters, you read through right to left or right on that translated grid. Then you're literally just sequencing the perimeter of the Holy Table. Really important to know. Same thing goes with the Holy Lamen. So, by the way, right? If you look at this Holy Lamen and you compare it with the geometry involved with generating magic squares as known by the gentlemen mathematicians who enjoy the recreation of magic squares that are not actually these magic squares but just numeric magic squares, this looks exactly like the generation of magic squares, right? Like this looks exactly like how you might do that. And it's really important to know, right, that the angelic script can be translated into the Latin script, which then can be associated with this 12 by 7 grid, goes through, is talked about here, has information and patterns here that come through this cipher disk that have reference to this table, right? So there's a lot of meaning unfolding here that is complex, but it is not actually undecipherable. So here's the Holy Table. Like I said, there seems to be a lot of complexity here, but it is reducible to geometric forms that seem apparent, right? That seem relatively simple, and that have historic precedent in this sort of cryptographic encoding sort of language. If you want to know more, I recommend the paper How to Sequence the Perimeter Letters on John Dee's Holy Table by Teresa Burns and Alan Moore. It's in the Journal of Western Magical Traditions, so please do check that out. I want to leave you with some invitations for actions. Derive the names of the angels on the Sigilium Dei Ameth. Duquette's Enochian Vision Magic is one of the best references for this, but you can get to the derivations on any number of the D websites like Esoteric Archives. Also derive the 12 by 7 table, and then find the correspondences on the Holy Table and the Holy Lamen. That should really help you see the connections here. And then you can join the e-course if you're not already at dcode.org for guided meditations, deep dives into these topics, for practice videos, and for Q&A. So we've come to the conclusion of the content. I'm going to offer some of the promotions I do at the end of these videos. If you want to continue to the next video, go right ahead. Know about decode.org. This is where you can go to get this lecture series, the e-course, and more information regarding the D Code. Cosmic Dream Sanctuary is where I offer dream work, hypnosis practice based on Western and mindfulness traditions. This may include angel communication. This may include other means of engagement. CosmicDreamSanctuary.org. I offer DreamWork sessions and training regarding extraordinary and anomalous experiences like ET contact and NHI contact in dreams from a research-based and scientific perspective. I'm a PhD student in integral noetic science, the master's degree in East-West psychology, and I really have read the literature regarding hypnosis and ET contact, and I really base my practice on that literature. So gone are the days of understanding regression hypnosis as a means for veridical information, but it is still a source of meaning that you can engage with here and now today through D-SETI.org. Finally, we've got Dreamwell, which you can get to at dreamwellbewell.com, or else through the App Store or the Play Store searching for Dreamwell. This is the mobile app to help you sleep, dream, and be well. It offers mindfulness training and a dream journal, a really cool dream journal that helps you analyze some of your text without offering interpretation, which is a unique offering in the world of dream analysis and guided meditation. So please do check that out. So thank you for going on this journey of exploring the derivations of meaning within the Enochian system. I have just touched the tip of an iceberg that is the tip of another iceberg that is a tip of another iceberg. So there is a sort of holographic fractalization of complexity here. And I'm just touching in on that. And I hope to have communicated that it is knowable. That it is knowable and you can hold it in your mind. I'm on the journey to do that too. But the fact is that John Dee held all of this complexity in his mind 500 years ago based on the precedent of very smart people that we often think are stupid because they're in the Middle Ages or early Renaissance. Actually, they're very smart enough to hold these multiple dimensions of meaning that invite us back into a holistic exploration of the universe. And so I really hope that by working with the derivation of meaning within this Enochian system, you feel empowered to explore the cosmos and the mystery of the cosmos and communication with extraordinary beings, knowing that you yourself are capable of understanding things that are, perhaps at first sight, incomprehensible. I'd love to do that together as a collective, as a culture, when we are approaching this cultural legacy of Enochian material. Let's decode it together so that we can really step in to a much more holistic cultural edifice that looks more like the Western liberal arts and less like training to work in factories. That's really what I want to have happen. I really want us to heal from some of the issues that colonization and the empires that have arisen out of the British Empire experience that John Dee's one of the center pieces of. I want to solve that. I want to heal from that so we can holistically engage in each other, with each other, make art, make peace, make love, that sort of thing, rather than exploit each other. And I think working with this code is a great way to do that, to activate your holistic mind, your heart, your body. Thank you for doing that.